Welcome back, Cecilia.
Oh, thank you, Sanju. So good to be back.
Great to have you on board. And now I leave it over to you for listening into this amazing high-energy panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanju. Lovely. So, here we are. Quite a few of us. This is so nice to see you all amazing people on the stage together with me. And why is it that? Well, that's because everyone here on stage now are a part of Sweden-India tech community. And for you who didn't hear the previous sessions, I'll say a few words about me, about Sweden-India Business Council before we move on to this, yes, very high energetic session. So, my name is Cecilia, and I live in India since 2007. Well, I've been spending more time in Sweden now over the last year, for obvious reasons. But I moved to India to spark the Indian wine industry. So on this note, we're talking about pioneering the possible. A lot of people said at that time, India, wine industry, is it even possible? And I said, well, watch me. So we are here, all of us, having the kind of the same, I think, mentality. Since about 2 years back, I'm working also with Sweden-India Business Council, which is one of the most active country-to-country networks. We bridge Sweden and India. We're a team of 4, RT sitting front row. Then there's Robin, and there is Nisha, who is in India. We also have advisors. We have a great board. Anna Gisler was just on stage. She's actually on our board. Kari, who's here, calling in on our board, etc., etc. Sweden India Business Council is a network of about 140 members, and we also work with India-Sweden Business Leaders Roundtable with 40 CEOs from Sweden and 20 from India. On the Indian side, we have Baba Kalyani from Bharat Force being the co-chair. On the Swedish side, we have Marcus Wallenberg. To be able to kind of connect these large corporates with the members, with the startup ecosystem, we created something called Sweden-India Tech Community. And I wanted to talk more about this today. What is a community? Well, it's when you create something where people are free to collaborate and to make things happen. And everything from the startups to the scale-ups to the grown-ups to the academia, investors, media, influencers, large corporates, incubators, and also the government bodies, of course. So that is, in short, Sweden-India Tech Community, engine of this Sweden-India Business Council. And with no further delay, I will tell you a little bit more about the panel that we have today. So, as we have 2 amazing people sitting next to me, I would like to say for Emma Ridderstad, who is the CEO of Warpin. She's new in the, so to speak, tribe, and she's also, so to speak, called the queen of the metaverse. And she will talk more about that in a bit. Stay tuned. We also have Shameek Ghosh. He's the founder of TrusTrace, and he's kind of making sustainability, traceability, more easily for us, and he's kind of helping us to create a better future for planet Earth. And he's going to talk more about that also in a minute. Very nice to have you with me here today on stage.
Thank you.
But also, of course, calling in all the way from India, MissMalini, Malini Agarwal, my friend from Mumbai. She's been with us in Sweden at a delegation about 2 years ago, together with, of course, also Gita Manjunath. She's the founder of MissMalini Entertainment, and she's also started Girl Tribe. Malini, welcome. So good to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be there virtually. I remember being there in person, so it's pretty surreal.
Yeah. Well, it's great. Kari, of course, you are the Chief Commercial Officer of Truecaller. You are on our board, as I mentioned earlier, and you're a very active member of Sweden-India Tech Community. Welcome today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And then we have Mayank Kumar, who is calling in from Bangalore. He's the founder of GetMega, who is becoming the largest entertainment platform in India, and someone that I met through Sweden-India Tech Community. Umakant Soni is our AI advisor, and very excited to have you with us today, Mayank.
Thank you so much for having me, Cecilia.
Great. So this is the panel. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why they're here and who they are. And I would like to start off with actually talking to you, Shameek. And Shameek, you are from India.
Yep.
You moved to Stockholm 2009 as an IT professional, but you decided to stay back and to create a whole new business. And you're the founder of TrusTrace, kind of coming as an offshoot, sitting from Norrsken back in the days. I know that you've been backed by Backing Minds, etc. But for you who don't know what TrusTrace is doing, it's definitely about time to learn more about it. And I would like you to say a few more words about your company and why you started it. Why is it so important to you?
Yeah. So what we do is not very simple, but I think it is interesting. We are a B2B SaaS platform for product traceability and supply chain transparency, and predominantly focusing on fashion industry. As I think we all know that fashion industry has a significant amount of environmental, social, and ethical footprint, and there's a significant amount of attempt going across the globe to improve that industry's performance on ESG parameters. And we are trying to help them through data. So what we do is that we are helping fashion companies in their journey to be more transparent, more compliant, and to be much more sustainable. We are helping them to achieve that through traceability. And what is traceability is, we help them to track the complete journey of the product, right from the source of each of the fiber or fabric to the end garment. And this may sound very simple, but it is a very complicated journey which the product almost transforms over some 4 or 5 continents, because the wool can come from Australia, the cotton can come from Egypt or India or some other parts of the world, and then all are blended together in some 4th country, and then it is converted into a final product in some other part, right? So it's a very complicated journey. Plus, I think if you look at the scale of the fashion industry, it is where it gets complicated there. So we are helping the fashion companies to understand this whole journey much more transparently, so that they can take actions to selectively work with suppliers or factories who have got a better environmental, social, or ethical practices, and also move more towards sustainable materials like organic materials or recycled materials.
And I think that's, we're talking about Stockholm being the impact capital. So then we have, of course, Shameek, you're coming to Stockholm. And I think, you when you're in Stockholm for a year, which is kind of what I've been now, it comes into your DNA, this whole, like, you live and breathe sustainability. And I can imagine that kind of has something that happened to yourself. But then to really make an impact, you have, though, gone to work more, and you have more employees in India. I believe you have 90 employees in India, and you have 10 in Sweden. So it's also like where you have this really magical match where you can really make an impact by being in a place like Stockholm and create it, but you really, take it to the next level. That's where you, of course, are so active in India.
That's right. Yeah. So I think we are a classic example of how Sweden and India can come together and help to innovate.
Yep.
We all 4 of us, we are 4 co-founders. One of us is here also. 2 of us are based in Sweden, 2 others are based in India. We do most of the product and technology work in India, but we do most of the service, customer engagement based out of Sweden. Now, what is interesting is the journey that we went through. Right? When we started, we all were tech guys who wanted to make a difference into this world, because we have seen environmental issues in the textile hubs in India or in Asia. We have seen the challenges that the workers face when they're exploited by not so good actors in these parts of the world. So we wanted to take an action towards that, and that is where we were brilliantly supported by some of the leading sustainability leaders in Sweden, like Houdini, Philippa K, Iceberg, right? We came from non-fashion background, but they gave us their knowledge, their time, their experience to build a platform like ours. It has got millions of lines of code in our platform, but I think thanks to the domain expertise that they brought us, we were able to build that. And of course, we have used the India's scale in programming it at that level.
It's excellent, super. No, I've been following the journey and I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
And I want to hear more. Talking about being impressed and following journeys and making a difference, Malini, you're another person whose journey I've been following and how you've been building your empire in the digital space in India with MissMalini's entertainment. But what I've been so excited about seeing and what has happened also during the pandemic is how you really been connecting women in particular through Girls Tribe. Could you tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do with Girls Tribe and how you are making a difference, because you really are in this world?
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for having me. I love that technology allows us to do things like this today. So the Girl Tribe is something that really came out of two needs. One, I feel like, and especially if you're an Indian woman, and I think any woman living in India, your DMs are probably filled with quite a few creepy messages most days. And I wanted to find a way that women in India especially could use the internet in a way that social media would really benefit them, because social media is an amazing thing. It's allowing you to amplify your ability to connect with people at a scale and a number that is not otherwise possible. So I really thought we need to be able to get rid of all the noise and let women actually connect with each other without having a bunch of guys saying, hi, hello, be my friend in the middle of their conversations. Not to mention all the obscene pictures. So that was one. Two, and I think a lot of people of all ages are feeling this now, there is a certain social media fatigue that comes from this whole social currency of likes and followers. You know, we've forgotten what it's like to really engage with each other. We put up a post and then we frantically look at the number count and how it goes up or if it doesn't go up. And the interesting thing that's happened is it's not that you're worried so much about how many likes you have. You're worried about what other people will think about how many likes you have. So it's become this really weird thing, especially for young women. So I wanted to create a space, which is now an app that is available on iOS and Android called Girl Tribe by MissMalini, where we're trying to flip this switch, where you actually earn points for posting any interesting topics or anything you want. You earn points for mindfully commenting. And you can then redeem those in a tribe store for actual products. The purpose of me telling you this is that I think it is up to our generation genuinely to make this shift for all of us. You know, I'm 44, so I've kind of had one leg online and one offline. So I've lived in a world where you had to pick up the phone and make a plan, otherwise it didn't happen. But I think it's our generation that while we are doing so many things, especially like we're discussing about technology and growth and building businesses, it is equally, if not more important, that we really think about the mental health impact and how women are being affected by social media and the interactions online. Not to mention things like safety, children's safety online. A lot of people don't know who is talking to their kids, using what identity. So I think while we take care of all the other things and make work and make business thrive, we must not make the same mistake we have made in actual society in the past, where we didn't have any governance and we let people eve tease or do whatever they wanted. So I'm a big propagator for this, and I've joined the council as well to try to amplify this reach within the Indian government as well, to have actual cyber laws put into place that are more effective, that if someone harasses you online, it makes a difference. So Girl Tribe is a community of women where they feel safe, they feel comfortable. We propagate encouraging people to do businesses and build each other up, something Cecilia has always done as a woman herself for all other women. So that's kind of our purpose and goal, and I'm very glad that I'm able to share it here.
Thank you, Malini. Yeah, well, I'm really, really pleased to see the development on Girls Tribe and how you've been growing. And if you don't know about this as yet, you should totally check it out. There are apps where you can join, and there are some amazing points to be redeemed. There's some amazing things that you can get also for the points. So it's a great platform. On the note of also just going out of the way, supporting women, and doing other things than maybe men could potentially be, is a person who sits here next to me, Emma. So Emma and I, we happened to study in Gothenburg, and Emma was also always this person that she never really did what the other women did. She was totally into her tech scene already, in the 90s, and at that time was she's interesting. What is she onto? And she was onto something big because she's now, according to many of us, the queen of the metaverse. And well, why is that? Well, that is because she has built a platform, Warpin. If you didn't hear her and the story on Fox News, that was, of course, streamed global yesterday. She will now tell you more about herself. But I'm so really proud and impressed of your journey. But I will leave it to you to say a few words more about why did you start Warpin? What is Warpin? And where do you see Warping moving forward? And we'll talk about how exactly with what brand in India in the next round. But first,
well, thank you
stage
very much
is
for
yours.
that amazing introduction, Cecilia, and I'm so happy to be here. So Warpin is a company we started 5 years ago with the only job to work with virtual and augmented reality. So we work with virtual reality for education and training. So we have built our own software platform where it makes it very easy to scale and deploy, and it's very cost efficient to train your employees in virtual reality. And why is that? Well, it has tremendous benefits of doing that, and I will come back to that. But on the other hand, what we're also doing is that we're working with augmented reality, where that is right now, and it's through our phones and through glasses. And there we're working much more with retail brands, making them, get good experiences in how to use this technology. So we started out with thinking that we're going to use the technology for how it can enhance the human experience and how we can work with the things that humans are really good at: creativity, empathy, all of that. So training in virtual reality, it is tremendously better than all the other training methods that are out there right now. You can reduce work injuries with up to 43%. You have a retention rate of 75% with everything you learn in virtual reality, and you're 3.75 times more emotional connected to the material that you're training in. So there are a lot of benefits. So we have built this platform to make it easy to scale and to make it cost efficient, because we were talking about this. I'm also in my 40s, and I grew up without, having to make a call, actually. And to see how the technology is taking over and how to use it is something that we are working with almost every day. So, for example, I lost my point now, I felt. What was I going to say about that? I'll get back to that. But going forward, our platform is being used today by a lot of big Swedish companies. We have the Swedish Postal Service using that. We're using H&M, for example, is using it to train their staffs. But we're also using it in ways to help people not injure themselves, to lift correctly, and to do certain jobs in a great way. Yes.
Well, I think it's a fantastic platform, and I've been able to experience it myself at various activities. You had, you have H&M as a client, and you had this exhibition with Jakob Verlander a couple of weeks ago, and I was just so impressed on how I could, move into a whole new world by just using what it is that you have created. And I can see so many different companies being able to do so, and one of them is the gaming industry. So for that reason, I'm going to move on to the speaker here in Bangalore. I think, well, of course, Mayank, I see so many synergies and I get very excited. But of course, there are so many in the tribe and in the community, and I love to connect people on a regular basis. But now I'm seeing even more synergies than ever before. So after this, we need to have a talk, all of us. So Mayank, gaming, building India's largest entertainment platform, social, real money gaming. We met at TechSparks through, as I mentioned earlier, our AI advisor, Magan Soni, and I was just so impressed by Mayank as a person and intrigued by what it is that he's building. So I'm now an investor in GetMega and an advisor, and been really following this journey over the last 2 years. And we've been growing from having 10,000 subscribers to now being 5 million plus, and aiming to have 50 million. So like the numbers that we have in India can't really compare them to the numbers that you have in Sweden. But I would like for you, Mayank, to tell the story about what it is that you are creating with GetMega and why.
Sure. Thank you so much for that introduction, Cecilia. At GetMega has had a very arduous journey in the last 2.5 years. We have evolved ourselves every 3 to 6 months to sort of, reach our only goal of building the most immersive form of entertainment in the world, right? And I see somebody's building a company in the artificial reality AR/VR domain, right? A metaverse of sorts that you mentioned, and it's something. But the use case is essentially education or skilling up, if I'm not mistaken, right? So our use case of building GetMega is to sort of entertain people, and after sort of looking after a lot of different modes of entertainment, we realized that real money gaming is essentially the most immersive form of entertainment, right? We realized that this industry has been there for like more than 2 decades online, but there were certain challenges which is plaguing this industry, if I can sort of use that word. Essentially, trust, fraudulent behavior, and a bunch of other things which inhibits a larger audience to sort of participate in this journey and have fun, basically, right? And so what we did was that we have evolved the platform GetMega into sort of building a social network, the largest of its kind, for real money gamers. Basically, now you can play any or all kinds of real money games with your friends, family, or peers in a very safe and secure manner, right? You know who you're playing with. All these people are KYC verified. There's a very strong fraud detection and fraud mitigation algorithm on the platform, so that everyone involved can have fun in a very safe manner instead of playing in other platforms who have been there for quite some time, wherein you don't know who you're playing with, essentially, right? You're playing with a bunch of strangers. More often than not, you're not trusting the platform enough to have fun, and that is what we're sort of taking care of in our industry. I hope that
I think that
makes sense.
No, for me it makes sense because, of course, I'm involved and I'm aware. But it's so good to see that is happening in the gaming industry, where we're taking charge and we take responsibilities for this very important matter that is so close to many of our heart, including Malini, well, of course, Emma and Shameek as well in what they do. It also leads me directly to Kari and everything that you do at Truecaller. I know that you are very much involved with your campaigns in India to be a secure point for women. But before we go into that, maybe, Kari, be good just to say a few words. I mentioned earlier you're on the board, you're very a part of the Sweden-India Business Council and the Sweden-India tech community, but you moved to Sweden 2016 to join Truecaller. And in India, a lot of people know Truecaller because Truecaller has about 200 million plus users in India. But for the Swedes, and maybe for some others as well, would you like to say a few words about Truecaller before we go into what it is that you do also to be a safe place for women?
Thank you, Cecilia. To correct the course here, I think I came on board of Truecaller in 2013 as a lone man operation in a small business center in Gurgaon. And 2016 is when I moved to Stockholm.
Right.
Truecaller is a communication platform. We are a communication brand with the simple purpose of creating the 3 important pillars of trust, safety, and efficiency in any mobile communication. I think that will define what our brand is. What the features that we offer is typically the caller ID, which caller ID is spam blocking, and we have moved on to messaging as well, which will offer instant messaging as well as the same DNA of blocking unwanted spammers on SMS and also identifying unknown SMS as well, and also have pivoted to enterprise segment in offering business caller ID. So I'm sure many of our friends in India would recognize the fact that when they get a call from an Uber or a Ola or from any other delivery services, you will have a branded caller ID. And again, that's our effort to simplify the communication, remove the strangeness or remove the anonymous part of the communication and put the real faces and the real names of whoever is trying to breach your communication space. I think I've dwelt a bit more into it, but I think you can call us one of the smarter communication brands out there.
I agree. Truecaller is a Swedish company. You have about 150 employees in India, though, so you have a large part of your business in India. And very exciting is that Truecaller was listed on the Swedish Nasdaq on the 8th of October. So Truecaller is definitely a company to look into, and I'm really proud to see everything that Kari has done for Truecaller over the years, and it's a great honor to have you here with us today on stage and always with us at SIBC. So
thank you.
Talking about what we do in the entertainment business, when it comes to safety, when it comes to so many different things, I'm going to go back to you actually, Emma, because when it comes to the metaverse and everything that is happening in that space, how do you see brands? First and foremost, why don't you explain to all of us here, in short, Queen of the Metaverse, what it is? What it is that the metaverse is? Because I think it's really important to understand it first, and then you can kind of say how you feel this will affect people and brands and how we work and how we integrate in the future.
Yeah. So the metaverse is Internet 3.0, you can say. The metaverse will be built by VR, AR, AI, and other technologies, but it will bring everything that you do today on your phone or computer will happen in a couple of years in 3D. So everything that you do, concerts, music, art, shopping, experiences, work, people that you meet, you can do in the metaverse. And people are always talking about metaverse as something being in virtual reality, but the metaverse, the true metaverse, is going to be in the bridge between the AR and the VR. So when you, instead of taking up your phone and calling and doing things, you will have a pair of smart glasses and you will do things in 3D in front of you. You can have a game watching on the table. At the same time, you can talk to a friend. You can share a digital space where you can actually work with projects together. So for me, as a very positive person, thinking of how this will go, I think that this will free us from the 2D cage that we are in today. And I mean, we have all of these questions about the internet today, and I think I was going to that point when I was starting on talking about that, and I lost it. But it is, we have the same problems right now with privacy, with who owns the data. These are going to be, and bullying, all of that is going to follow us into the metaverse if we don't solve those issues.
Very, very important. So you're playing a very important role there. I mean, there's so many things that you can do that I can see myself also being important aspects for everything now with MissMalini. I think there could be a really interesting conversation. Emma still hasn't been to India, so I'm going to bring her to India, and we're going to spend time at Soho House with Malini and talk about how we can grow this even further. And then we're going to go to Bangalore to Mayank and talk about how we can do it in the gaming and the entertainment industry. And of course, we always have Truecaller as full support on that. So there's so many things that we're going to do in India with you, and I'm really looking forward to that. I also look forward to further collaborations between Sweden and India, also in the investment space. I, of course, myself have invested in some really exciting companies, GetMega being one of them. But a company that I've been following, and I know that you just closed your Series A round, Shameek, is yourself. Yeah. And I'm just throwing it out here. Can you tell us a little bit about this round, and what is the next step here now? Because I find it very interesting what it is that you're doing with all the brands that you are working with, and what you're trying to, what you will achieve. There's no trying in the Sweden-India tech community. We make things happen. So tell us a little bit more about your round that you just closed, and what's the plan for the future?
Yeah, I think we have been very blessed that way, that we have been backed by good investors, starting right from the beginning by Vinnova. Vinnova supported us with 2 big grants, and I think coming from the background of being non-fashion companies. We participated in these 2 grants working with fashion companies, and which has been a great asset. And we started building the complete data platform with these 2 grants there. Plus, then we were supported by Backing Minds, who were the first round of investors. And I think you guys know them very well now, as they are in the Sweden's Shark Tank program. And in fact, we also featured in that program for a very short 3-second filler there. But yeah, so we have been supported by, and they are the Women in Investment team there. Super people, super collaborative. They've introduced us to some very, very influential players in the fashion industry through that part. And now we are very, very happy to have seasoned investment companies, Industry Fonden and Fairpoint Capital, in the cap table. And with this round, we are looking at global expansion. We already have been, I think, quite a few names in the Sweden ecosystem, plus a couple of good names in the Germany, in France, and in UK.
And India?
India, we do not have any brands as a customer. We only have the main suppliers in there. So overall, we have got 40 brands as customers, predominantly European brands, and most of them Nordic brands there. And then we have got now aims to expand into the US to try to, as sustainability is really becoming a very, very big topic there, driven by the Biden administration now there. And also we see that emergence of new regulations like the Xinjiang cotton issue and all such kind of things there. So we use this capital, first of all, to expand. Second, of course, to improve the product, because what we have been able to see now is that in the last 1 year, we have traced 32 or around 12 billion worth of goods right from the source to the final product in this last 10 months there in the platform. So which is a tremendous amount of scalability, and we have got a lot of data with us now. And this data can be used for significant amount of analytics for people to take decisions to how to improve the sustainability performance of their product portfolio. So that is where we will invest this money on.
Super. Okay, well, that's very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to learn more about it and then be fully aware when the next round is coming up. And I do believe there should be some interest also from India as you expand in India, and also with a lot of brands.
Absolutely.
So we'll make that happen. Great. Talking about making things happen, Malini. Of course, you built the largest digital entertainment platform when it comes to influencers, and then you're creating Girls Tribe, which is growing by the day. But I also know that you're in the midst of starting a talent management. So as that is something that I have not heard of before, and it became as news to me, I believe it's also kind of news here for India Sweden Innovation Day and many of the listeners. Can you tell us a few words about that? And congratulations to, one achievement after the other.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so we launched Ignite Edge, which is our talent management agency in-house. I realized as an influencer how important it is to have good management, because at the end of the day, you're putting your entire livelihood and your trust in your talent managers to run your life, your reputation. And with influencers, it's very different than somebody just going and doing one project, right? This is what becomes your value and how people know you and how they respect you. And so management is so important. And we've always worked with so many brands as the MissMalini Entertainment company. So we have automatically this great role to play as matchmakers between content creators and talent and the brands as well. So we started managing about 20 people. We're going to keep it small and not make it crazy big, because I want to give everyone the right kind of attention and make sure that they get a special edge. The reason why it's called Ignite Edge is because obviously they're coming under the umbrella of MissMalini, which started off as an influencer when the word influencer didn't exist. And so they also get to be promoted across all of our assets and platforms over and above everything that they do. They get all the insights and learnings that, we have an entire entertainment agency that's going to help them grow, help them create content. So I'm very excited about this new sort of piece that we've added to the company. I do warn everyone that there's so many people out there telling everyone that, hey, you can become a creator Do you want 10,000 followers? Don't fall for that. There's a lot of hacks online who are messaging you and promising you the things. A lot of times you'll get a DM saying, click this or your Instagram will be deleted. Don't fall for any of this. Go to a respected agency, work with the right people, never buy followers. These are the things that you have to keep in mind, especially if you want to do this professionally. I think nowadays everybody needs a social footprint, and it's not a bad idea to get the right people to help you do that. And I'm very happy that I finally be able to bring to the table something that I've been working on for a very long time and able to do it in the way that we know is going to make a difference to the creators as well. So thank you, Cecilia.
Oh, that's fantastic. And of course, you've been to Sweden. You came with our flight that we had, the startup flight with Invest Stockholm. And you've seen Sweden. Do you see, are there some synergies? Could this company expand into Sweden? Would that be a future, a possible future?
I think so. I think now, I think the pandemic actually catapulted us into the future that we don't even realize. We all thought the future will be full of flying cars. We don't realize that we're already in the future. I was watching Back to the Future actually the other day, and it was set in a time where the furthest in the future he goes is 2020. And the thing about the future in Back to the Future is that there are flying cars and fax machines. They still don't have cell phones because no one would have thought of it in the 80s when they made that movie. So I think that there are going to be jobs tomorrow that do not yet exist for the next generations. And I think absolutely the world is becoming much, much smaller. And if you see some of the things that influencers work so closely with, the tourism industry is massive. It's going to be growing back again. And Sweden is one of those places that I think does very well in promoting tourism as well. You were talking about H&M. There are brands that are so well integrated into the India retail industry as well, that I think, H&M is now even investing in larger Indian companies. So you're seeing a lot of crossover, and I'm very excited to be able to do stuff like that. I would love to also explore the Indian diaspora that live in Sweden. How can we help them if there are creators there who are trying to make a niche for themselves? Can we help them, give them a virtual voice? So if there's anyone that you think would be interested in talking to us, I'm more than happy to connect.
Well, I can think of a few already now, so we'll definitely take that afterwards. But yeah, we're looking forward to have you back in Sweden. So we'll find any excuse to make it happen. And so talking about Sweden and talking about how Sweden and India can collaborate, I think Mayank, you, of course, you're in Bangalore, but you have over the last years been working strongly and closely with Sweden. Could you tell us a little bit more about this journey and how it has been for you?
Sure, Cecilia. So Sweden is actually at the heart of GetMega, to be honest. Umakant obviously introduced us to you, and you since 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, you have opened up the world for us, if I'm being very honest. You have been very, very helpful, particularly in introductions, especially to people like, John T. Rhodes, who is now, I will consider him a Swedish guy now, because he's probably settled in Sweden, right? And you've introduced us to a bunch of, angels in India, like Ashish, who's the founder and CEO at Book My Show, Karan Johar, who's one of the leading filmmakers in India. A bunch of these people who are not only angel investors in our country, but what we like to call as mentor angels, right? And these guys actually mentor our leadership team, 1 to 2 hours per month, and allow us to sort of kind of jumpstart from wherever we are. So they allow us to sort of move faster than we would have if they weren't in our lives, to be honest, right? One of the most important helps which we have gotten from Sweden is that when we started this company 2.5 years ago, we realized that India is a very talent-poor country when it comes to game engineers or game designers, right? And we wanted to sort of control the entire ecosystem of building games so that we can control the experience on a platform. So what we realized is that what we did was that we got one of the angel investors, namely Michael, who was leading AI and monetization at King.com, the makers of Candy Crush. Like most of India plays Candy Crush, most of the world plays Candy Crush, right? And he was very instrumental in helping us set up our own gaming studio in-house. So we are one of the only companies in the entire country in our domain which owns a gaming studio. That means we make games for our own platform, right? And with the help of Michael and his expertise of building games, we were able to jumpstart our own ecosystem of building games. And so far in the last 2.5 years, we have built 50 games, 50, 30 single player games and around 15 multiplayer games, right? And that has been to a large effect with the help of creative minds from Sweden. So I cannot thank people from Sweden enough who have been our mentors, our angel investors, and been sort of leading from the front in the last 2.5 years.
I mean, well, that's great. Well, Sweden is very happy to be part of your journey with GetMega on in many different aspects. And I think GetMega with Sweden is a great example of how well an Indian company, Indian entrepreneur, Swedish company, Swedish entrepreneurs work so well together. And as we come together, we can grow even stronger and do even more things. So think about that. Should you be Indian or should you be Swedish? That find an Indian or a Swedish partner or a company or an investor for that matter, and magic will happen. On that note, I'd like to say a few words, have you actually say a few words, Kari, more about, because you have been part of Sweden-India Business Council, and I'm not going to, blow our own trumpet, but I think it could be interesting for some to hear how Truecaller has had Sweden-India Business Council as a partner, and it could be nice to hear from you why you believe it's important to be a part of a council such as Sweden-India Business Council and Sweden-India Tech Community. And of course, Alan Mamedi is a part of India-Sweden Business Leaders Roundtable as well. Do you have some comments on that, Kari?
Absolutely. And it's a good question. I might be biased, but I'll try to speak the truth. I think for long we have heard about the startups coming together. It's a lovely experience, a great experience, all said and done. There has always been a bit of resistance when it comes to tech community, startups, engaging with regulators, policymakers, and government. And my first exposure to government agencies was on a personal level in India, but SABC has been a pivot when it comes to breaking that sort of a glass wall and made us coexist. And I think that's been a significant impetus that SABC has provided not only to Truecaller, but many other companies. And we have engaged very closely with SABC. And whenever we meet with government agencies and regulators, the conversations are much more vivid, much more truthful, and much more transparent. And that is where I believe the scope of further engagements and cooperations can really blossom, cutting across geographies. And I would encourage every member and every participant or all the viewers over here to see Sweden-India Business Council as a great stepping stone to break very, very crucial barriers, which we tend to make it up mentally, that you can coexist, you can work in close relationship and tandem with regulators, policymakers, government agencies, NGOs, entertainers like MissMalini and a lot of influencers without sweating too much about we are an engineering company. We want to have a very closed user group sort of an experience. I think SABC has been successful in breaking that sort of stereotype, I would say.
Well, thank you. That was very kind words, and I'm sure they're coming from your heart. And it's honest. It's true. It is true. But I would say any kind of network. I mean, there are networks such as International Women in Business. There are all these kind of networks that you can be a part of, and you can really grow together. So Sweden Business Council, of course, I would recommend that. Sweden Tech Community, say no more. And India Sweden Business Leaders Roundtable, we have mentioned a few times during the day. I wanted to say, I'm going to go back to India, so I'm looking forward to whoever is in India to see you there, maybe celebrate some Diwali. If you are in Sweden, I'm going to come back to Sweden as well. I'll be here on the 17th of November for an event called the AI and Digitalization Day, India-Sweden Bridging in Gothenburg. So if you want to come to Gothenburg on the 17th of November, hit me up. Otherwise, I would like to thank everyone, thank the speakers, thank Sweden Tech community, and thank you everyone who's been listening. And namaste, thank you, tack så mycket, happy Diwali.